Hey, Saucy but Sweet fam. Now, first off, I'm going to be completely honest. I know usually I'm very bubbly and positive, but today I'm just a little pissed off. As an entertainment and pop culture girly, I always have a good sense of what is going on. And sometimes the news cycle can be uplifting and fun, and a lot of times just uneasy and incredibly sad. And today's topic is definitely in the incredibly sad category. As you know, we've discussed Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion a few times on the show, but there have always been new updates every now and then. And some believe these updates mean that Tory Lanez should be released from prison despite there being a fair trial. Now, it should be mentioned that Tory Lanez was violently attacked in prison recently. So this is definitely very interesting timing to start talking about his quote-unquote release. Some of you may be in support of Tory, and some of you might be like me, exhausted and empathetic to hot girl Meg. I just know I want this to be OVER. Stick with us. You are now listening to Saucy but Sweet with Ali McPherson, a podcast where nothing is off limits, where we talk about everything from romance, sex, pop culture, and everything in between. Sit back, relax, and enjoy an unfiltered time where we keep it sweet and always saucy. So first, I want to ask you, how would you feel if you were assaulted by someone you called a friend, and in the midst of it all had a falling out with this person and a best friend of yours? Now, let's say this assault brought trauma and an unending amount of scrutiny around you. Let's say your first thought was to protect the person who hurt you. But after realizing this person wasn't who you thought they were, you began to tell your truth. You told the world this person harmed you, despite folks taking the other person's side. Now, add something else to the mix. You're a superstar, and you're one of the most well-known female rappers on the planet. And the person who assaulted you is a well-known male rapper who has garnered a lot of support from his side. How would you go about that? Now, what if you saw how telling your truth has hurt your career? And even after showing proof of being assaulted time and time again, you're going through a long, brutal trial to put this person behind bars. Years later, the very people you thought had your back in your industry supported the release of your attacker. And fans from all over the world made up rumors about you. And no matter how much time passes, you can just never move on. You always have to relive it. Now, just the thought of this is something and I hope all of you, never have to experience. But yet, when we see it in real time to one of the most famous women on the planet, many of us turn away or just go along with the rumors and lies. After Tory Lanez shot Meg, not allegedly, but factually, shot her in the foot back in 2020, I, like many others, were happy that after all the back and forth, he was sentenced for what he had done. But not everyone felt the same way I did. In a May 14th press conference, Tory's legal team claims that a former bodyguard from Meghan's ex-friend Kelsey Harris heard Kelsey admit that she was the one who fired the gun and that surveillance footage supports this version of events. Meghan's legal team responded that Lanez was tried and convicted by a jury of his peers, and his case was properly adjudicated through the court system. Now, what I have to ask is, if this is new quote-unquote evidence, and if this is true, why wasn't this brought up during the trial? This was a time for the truth to be revealed, if that was the truth. And why didn't Tory testify? Meghan took to TikTok on May 20th to address her frustration, calling Tory a demon and telling him to leave her alone. The fact that this woman has to continue to relive what is the most terrifying moment of her life or anyone's life is unbelievable. Meg has discussed the altercation numerous times. She discussed it on Gayle King. She discussed it in her music, very good music, I might add, and on social media time and time again. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking. Why should we believe Meg when, for a time, she was not completely honest with us? Like, for example, in the Gayle King interview, she falsely claimed she had not been intimate with Tory Lanez. But if that is reason enough to ignore the evidence that the court provided, then there really is no hope for the court of public opinion. And let me remind you, she did not lie in court. Plus, I don't know why someone's sexual history with someone should have anything to do with what happened. Regardless, she's still a victim. And some others are critical of her because in the beginning, she had told the police that she stepped on glass and she didn't want Tory, she had not wanted Tory to go to jail, to prison. And that was to protect him. It wasn't like something that she did just to lie, And then when she figured out who he really was, she realized, you know what? No, this person should be behind bars, and I respect her for that. And to make matters worse, there has been a petition pushed by Tory Lanez calling for a pardon by California Governor Gavin Newsom. Drake has signed this petition. As of now, there are 319,105 verified signatures on the change.org website. Sickening. They are calling it a quote-unquote deep injustice. The only deep injustice is what has happened to Meg and what is continuing to happen as they make her relive her trauma over and over again. That's the only injustice I see. Representative Anna Paulina Luna from Florida is currently calling for his release, as well as Tommy Lauren, a Republican commentator. Now, this is all happening at a very interesting time. Recently, Tory Lanez was stabbed 14 times in prison. Definitely a brutal situation that no one should be rooting for. But still, does this have to do with him gaining more support? Now, although I do not condone violence, this should not sway people to the rumors and lies he is spreading about not being the one who shot Meg. But what does this say about the hip-hop industry and society? That we have all of the evidence in front of us, but yet we still want to believe a convicted felon over an actual victim. This resembles a lot of what went down with R. Kelly before he was sent to prison. Many supported him for years in the hip-hop community, even after a video of him having sex with a minor. It took years and years of more evidence of his sick behavior for the hip-hop community to abandon him. Look at Chris Brown, who was a pile of evidence of being a domestic abuser, not just from his altercation with Rihanna, but many others, and people are still talking about his sold-out tour. Absolutely sickening. I mean, I'm speechless of all the things we allow these people to get away with before we take it seriously, or if we ever truly take it seriously.
We'll be right back with Saucy but Sweet with Ali McPherson.
Are you ready to become the best version of yourself and live your best life? Are you tired of feeling stuck in your career, relationship, and your day-to-day routine? It all begins with you. In order to give your best, you have to become your best self. Stop living by default and create the life you want. I remember when there was a time where I felt like I had no control over my life. And the best life coach / relationship coach to help me put my life back together was Odette Godinel. If you are a hardworking, independent, successful woman who lacks energy, focus, and direction, feels overwhelmed, stressed, and anxious, thinks there's never enough time, puts your well-being at the bottom of your priority list, feels a lack of connection in your marriage or relationship, feels stuck and afraid of change, Odette can help. You don't have to keep struggling, and you don't have to figure it out alone. Odette has found the tools to learn how to stop living by default and start creating the life and the relationship she wanted, and help countless clients do the same. Visit www.odettegodinel.com. She will definitely change your life. But shout out to my girl SZA, who isn't really my homegirl, but she is in my mind. She recently took to Meg's defense online. She said, quote, "The density. I'm actually so shocked at the amount of people fully comfortable bullying women that's proven to be a victim of assault. Like out loud, where other people can see you? LMAO, you finna be stupid out loud?" My thoughts exactly. Shit. We can end this episode right here, because that's exactly everything that I'd want to say. Now, to all my listeners, think about it. Who are you a fan of? Who you've let slide time and time again? I'm not saying you have to delete their music from your phone, but think about it. Are you supporting these people publicly? And what do you think that does to the victims? Imagine putting yourself in the victim's shoes. How would you feel if you knew your perpetrator had a wide range of support just because of his reputation? Now, I don't know about you, but I couldn't live with myself if I played even a small role in a victim's continued trauma. Hip-hop, and to all of you at home calling for his release because it pains you more to see a brother in jail than to see a Black woman in pain, do better.
We'll be right back with Saucy but Sweet with Ali McPherson.
Before we go, I wanted to remind you that we have merch. What's a podcast without merch? The link to our merch shop is at the bottom of the video. We have everything from tote bags, to stickers, to hoodies and mugs. And that's all for this week. Thank you for tuning in to Saucy but Sweet with Ali McPherson. See you next time.